Good evening, all of you. I hope you all are doing well. And today, in this topic, we're going to learn the banking and economic current affairs for the month August 2021. Okay, we're going to see all the important issues related to the banking and economy for the August 2021. Okay, so let's start the session. Our first issue was NPCI launched the digital payment solution e-rupee. Okay, so what is NPCI? That you need to understand first. That is National Payment Corporation of India. In short, it is NPCI. So this NPCI, it has launched an innovative digital solution. Okay, it is one of the digital platform. The name of that platform is e-rupee. Okay, so in association with the Department of Financial Service, which is the government department, that is Department of Financial Service, along with that National Health Authority, okay, that is NHA, and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, okay, and other some partners bank. Okay, so NPCI in partner with the DFS, Department of Financial Service, National Health Authority, then Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, that is MOHFW. All together, they come up with the e-rupee digital payment solution platform. Okay, so what is this e-rupee is all about? So e-rupee is a one type of payment voucher. Okay, like how you get lot of vouchers from different apps. It is also same similar kind of payment voucher with one time payment mechanism. Okay, so it has the only one time payment mechanism and it is built on the UPI platform. Okay, so because it is done by NPCI, obviously it is built on the UPI interplace platform. Okay, why they have come up with such e-rupee digital payment solution? That is the question again. Okay, so government or corporate entities, they would create a e-rupee vouchers through their partner banks and save this e-rupee with the beneficiaries for a specific purpose or activities via SMS or QR code. So basically, if you understand this e-rupees procedure and all, so what we understanding here is, so digital, cashless economy they are going to do. Okay, cashless economy they are trying to do. So especially during the COVID time. Okay, so because of that, they have come up with this new digital payment solution e-rupees. So it is one of the voucher. It is get shared with other entities for specific purpose through the SMS and QR code. Okay, the beneficiaries who are getting this e-rupee voucher, they will be identified using their mobile numbers. Okay, it is also similar kind of other apps how you use different payment apps. It is also like that, but the difference is it is done by the NPCI and it is one time payment mechanism. Okay, and it is used for the specific purpose and specific activities. Okay, this voucher can be sent through the SMS or QR code. So purpose of this e-rupee payment solution is to make the cashless economy, so that they can reduce the people to people contact, so especially during the COVID time. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. So who bought this e-rupee platform? It is by the NPCI, that is National Payment Corporation of India, along with that DFS, then NHA, then Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. So next issue is 18 Indian banks buy the stake in new blockchain startup IBBIC. Okay, so in fact it is IBBIC Private Limited. So what is this IBBIC? Can anybody let me know in the comment section? What is this IBBIC? Anybody? Think about it. Or what is blockchain? We have already discussed, right? What is blockchain? See, the Indian Banks Blockchain Infrastructure Co Limited. Okay, so that is IBBIC. So our 18 Indian banks, okay, they all together they come up with this new startup. Okay, they are taking the part of this new blockchain startup named IBBIC Private Limited. Okay, so IBBIC was incorporated in the May 2021 as a financial technology company with an objective of providing platform for exploring, building, and implementing the distributed ledger technology solutions. So, including the development of DLT platforms, applications, venture for the Indian financial service sector. Okay, so what you need to understand here is it is the blockchain model of startup. Okay, it is working on the blockchain model. So that's why to bring the different technologies in the financial system, 18 Indian banks they are taking the part of it. So okay, they are setting the new blockchain startup IBBIC. Why they have come up with the blockchain startup, which is on the basis of blockchain? Because a lot of frauds are happening and monitoring and regulation of those frauds are very much difficult when you go manually. If you use blockchain technology, then you can really easily identify the frauds. Okay, then the system will be itself will be easier if you use the blockchain technology, and monitoring and regulation will be done very easily. So that is the thing, that is the reason behind the startup of blockchain IBPIC. Okay, so blockchain model IBPIC. So 18 different Indian banks they are taking part of this new blockchain startup IBPIC. Okay, I hope this is clear. So next, SBI launches the SIM binding feature of UNO and UNO Lite. So you might or you guys might using the UNO and UNO Lite apps, right? It is just like your Google Pay, Paytm, or Phone Pay, like that. Okay, it is through the SBI. So now because of that app, SBI launched the SIM binding feature. Okay, it is another feature for the UNO app and UNO Lite app, which is already existed. Okay, so India's largest lender, State Bank of India, it has launched the new and enhanced security feature for its UNO and UNO Lite apps. It is called SIM binding. So it is to protect the customers from various digital frauds, because whenever we transact so much on the different online platforms, many frauds will happen. To minimize that frauds, they come up with the SIM binding feature for the UNO and UNO Lite app. So what this gonna do? What exactly they are trying to do here? See, under the new SIM binding feature, the UNO app and UNO Lite apps will work only on those devices which have SIM of the mobile numbers registered with the bank. If you try to use other, devices using the same, app, it is not going to work. Okay, the only SBI bank. Okay, so such devices can use the UNO bank, UNO app. Okay, so that is all about the SIM binding. Okay, the main aim of the new version of the platform is to provide enhanced security to the customers and help them with the convenient and safe online banking experience. Okay, so because of that, they come up with the SIM binding feature. So what we understand here? So we understood that only the numbers, mobile numbers registered with the SBI Bank, they can use the UNO app with only one single device. Okay, that is all about SIM binding feature of the UNO and UNO Lite app of the SBI. In examination, they're gonna ask, app, it was recently seen in news. It was launched by which bank? Okay, so you need to remember it is by the State Bank of India, one of the largest lender of India. Okay, I hope this is clear. Next, HDFC Bank launches the Dukandar Overdraft Scheme for the small retailers. By the name only, you can understand what is this scheme is all about. Okay, Dukandar Overdraft Scheme. So here, what you need to remember is whenever such schemes will come in your current affairs, you need to remember which bank is launching that. So it is done by HDFC, Dukandar Overdraft Scheme. It is for the small retailers. So India's largest private lender, that is HDFC Bank, it has launched an overdraft facility for the small retailers. It is called as Dukandar Overdraft Scheme to help the small shopkeepers and merchants in easing their cash crunch. Okay, see, whenever the cash crunch is happening for the small retailers and shopkeepers and unorganized sector, people who are working in the unorganized sector, so for them to help their cash crunch, period, HDFC Bank come up with the Dukandar Overdraft Scheme. Okay, the scheme has been launched in partnership with the CSC SPV and government's e-governance services delivery arm that enables the government schemes and services through the common service center. Okay, so this overdraft scheme is launched by HDFC. The purpose of this scheme is to give the or help the small retailers who are working in the unorganized sector. Okay, so that much you need to remember. Okay, next, RBI authorizes the IndusInd Bank to act as an agency bank. So here you need to understand what is the agency bank is all about. So recently, our Reserve Bank of India, it authorizes the IndusInd Bank to act as the act as an agency bank. The IndusInd Bank has been compared by the Reserve Bank of India to act as an agency bank. As an agency bank, IndusInd becomes eligible to carry out the transaction related to all kinds of government-led businesses. See, because of this, we understood something. Whenever the banks are working in their financial transaction and all, they don't have all authority to involve in the all transaction related to the government. Only some agency banks have that authority to involve in the all transaction related to the government businesses. Okay, so for that authority done by the RBI. Okay, so that that kind of feature will be given by Reserve Bank of India, because Reserve Bank of India is the bankers bank. It has the highest authority. It will regulate all the banks in India. It will do monitor all the banks in India. So according to the RBI norms, whenever the RBI authorizes any particular bank to act as an agency bank, then only such banks will carry out transaction related to the all kinds of government led businesses. So because of that, recently RBI authorizes this IndusInd Bank to act as an agency bank. So from now, it is going to involve with the transactions related to the all kinds of government led businesses. Okay, so this decision is based on the RBI guideline that authorizes the scheduled private sector banks as an agency bank of the regulator for the conduct of government business. Okay, so this is all about agency bank. So not all bank will become agency bank. Okay, whenever the RBI authorizes some bank to do so, then only it will become agency bank. Okay, I hope this is clear. So next, Sarvodaya Small Finance Bank launches the Health and Wellness Saving Account. Okay, so here, which bank is launching the Health and Wellness Saving Account? That is Sarvodaya Small Finance Bank. So that point you should keep in mind. Okay, it is Sarvodaya Small Finance Bank. This has launched this new product, Sarvodaya Health and Wellness Saving Account, with the dual objective of safeguarding both health and wealth of the customer. By the name only, you can understand it is serving for two purposes. One is health of the customer, another one is wealth of the customer. For opening the savings account, customer will need to maintain an average monthly balance of 3 lakh rupees. See, whenever a customer they want to account the open for health and wellness saving account, they have to keep the monthly average balance of 3 lakh rupees. Okay, and have to be eligible as per the key health declaration for. But who is eligible for this, having this account in the Sarvodaya Small Finance Bank? The minimum age is 18 years and maximum age is 65 years. Okay, so this is one kind of account. Okay, it is done by Sarvodaya Small Finance Bank. It is for their customers, and for that they have to keep average monthly balance is 3 lakh rupees, and eligible person for this account is minimum is 18 years and maximum age is 65 years. Only the age group between 18 to 65 years, they can hold the health and wellness saving accounts in the Sarvodaya Small Finance Bank. Okay, so that is all about the new account. Next, DBS Bank recognizes as the most innovative in digital banking globally by the banker. So this is one report. Okay, the banker. So every year they're going to release release the report. In that they're going to they're going to recognize the different banks and their achievements. So recently the DBS Bank, it has won the global accolade of the most innovative in digital banking in the Innovation in Digital Banking Awards 2021. So in examination, they're directly going to ask. So Innovation in Digital Banking Award 2021 has been announced, and which bank recognized so and so. Okay, so you need to remember it is DBS Bank. Okay, so this report or this award is given by the Financial Times publication, The Banker. Okay, so that publication name is The Banker. See, apart from this, DBS has also won the cybersecurity category in the Asia Pacific region. So not only in India, okay, in the Asia Pacific region for its secure access and remote working solution. Okay, not only in India, all around the Asia Pacific region. And the Bankers Innovation in Digital Banking Award recognizes the most innovative banks globally for their digital banking initiatives, strategies, and overall commitment to the digital transformation. Because our India is going towards more digitization, right? Our financial system, not only the financial system, economy, and many things we are, done by the digital platform. So because of that, banks play the very key role. Okay, with their customer, they are going to give different platforms to, to involve the customers in the digital platform. So because of that, DBS also done so many things. So to recognize those struggles of the DBS Bank, most innovative in digital banking award is goes to the DBS Bank this time. Okay, so the banker report is very, very important. Okay, they're gonna ask this question. Remember the banker report. Okay, which bank they have recognized recently? DBS Bank. Okay, that you need to remember. And who is the publication authority of the banker? Financial Times publication. That is the publication authority, Financial Times. Okay, and also remember DBS Bank not only done this achievement in the most innovative digital banking system, but also it won the award for cyber security category in the Asia Pacific region. So that also you need to remember. Okay, these are the facts you need to remember. You need to memorize these facts. Okay, so next, HDFC launches the Green and Sustainable Deposits Program for the retail clients. We have already discussed this green and sustainable deposits, right, in the current affairs session. But anyhow, once again, we're going to study that. It is the India's largest private sector bank, SDFC. It has launched the Green and Sustainable Deposit Program for the retail clients with an aim to safeguard the environment from the climate change, because a lot of climate change actions are happening. Climate change is happening, glaciers are melting. Okay, so because of that, they came up with the Green and Sustainable Deposit Program. The funds from these fixed deposits will be used for financing of the green and sustainable housing, credit, solutions, and services. Okay, so for example, if a person A is going to deposit in the HDFC Bank in the green and sustainable deposit sector, then those funds will be used for, green and sustainable housing, credit, solutions, and services. So through that way, they are safeguarding the environment from the climate change. Okay, so interest rate for such deposits is 6.55%. Okay, interest rate provided by the HDFC Bank is 6.55% for the green and sustainable deposits. And what is the maturity period of that, deposit? It is between the 3 to 10 years. Okay, so 3 to 10 years is the maturity and 6.55% is the interest rate given to that particular deposits. So here what you need to remember here is, so green and sustainable deposits recently seen in news, it is launched by which bank? Like that question will come in your examination. So remember it is by the HDFC Bank. Okay, so what is the purpose of green and sustainable deposits program? The purpose is simple. So whenever a person do the deposit in the green and sustainable deposits, then that fund is going to be used in the green and sustainable housing, credit, solutions, and services. So in this way, they are helping the or safeguarding the environment from different climate changes. Okay, so this is all about the green and sustainable program. So next, RBI to launch the PRISM platform to strengthen the compliance by supervised entities. So this PRISM platform also we have studied in the current affairs session. So PRISM, what is this PRISM? It is a platform for regulated entities for integrated supervision and monitoring. Okay, in examination, they're going to ask the acronym also. So remember carefully, it is a platform for regulated entities for integrated supervision and monitoring. Altogether, it is PRISM. So it is one of the web-based platform via which the entities that are supervised by the RBI may submit various compliance to the RBI. See, I told you, RBI is the bankers bank. It will supervise and it will regulate and monitor a lot of the other banks and entities in India. Okay, so because of that, to make them come under one umbrella system, they form the PRISM platform. So that's why it is one of the web-based platform. Through that, all the entities that are supervised by the RBI may submit the various compliance to the RBI in the single platform. So before that, different entities will be regulated by different sections, different things, procedures. But from now onwards, under the PRISM platform, all those entities will come under the single umbrella or single roof. It will be very much easy to regulate. Okay, for the different entities for RBI. Next, RBI regulates and supervises the various entities in India. As I told you, that PRISM platform will help RBI in having the continuous supervision for the different entities, and they can easily identify the risk, okay, and the conduct of the supervisory actions. Okay, so this is all about the PRISM platform. So what you need to remember here is what is PRISM is all about. That is platform for regulated entities for integrated supervision and monitoring. This is launched by RBI It is one of the umbrella based platform, and under this lot of the different entities which are supervised by the RBI will come under this, and RBI easily can regulate them and supervise them time to time. So risk reduction will be reduced through the PRISM platform. So that you need to remember. Okay, I hope this is clear. Next, NPCI partners with Mashreq Bank to launch the UPI in the UAE. So UAE country, where it comes in globe? Anybody let me know? Anybody knows anything about UAE? See, NPCI, International Payment Limited, that is NIPL. Somebody's telling. Yeah. So NPCI partners with the Mashreq Bank. Okay, NPCI International Payment Limited, that is NIPL. It has partnered with the Mashreq Bank to launch the payment system facility of the Unified Payment Interface in the UAE. Okay, so this NIPL is India's, and this Mashreq Bank belongs to the UAE. Okay, they have partnered together to form the payment system facility of UPI in the UAE. Okay, so Mashreq Bank is the oldest privately owned bank in the United Arab Emirates. Okay, NIPL from India, this Mashreq Bank is from the UAE. So why they are doing so? This step will benefit the Indian tourists who travel to the UAE for the business or leisure purpose to pay for their purchases using the UPI based mobile application across the shops. Okay, so that is the main aim why they are, a partner with Mashreq Bank to launch the UPI in the UAE. Say for example, if you go to the UAE, you want to purchase something there. Okay, you will go to the different restaurants or you will go to the different shop and you will buy something. You can easily pay that money through using the UPI. Okay, to ease that tourist, traveling. So that's why they come up with the this Mashreq Bank that launched the UPI in UAE. Okay, so to ease the tourist, and if any person go to the UAE, they can easily do the shopping or they can easily buy and sell the things through the UPI platform. Okay, so that is the main purpose of this agreement. Okay, so remember that. So Mashreq Bank belongs to the UAE. That you need to remember. Okay. Next is Kotak Mahindra Bank launches the DIY. It is digital repayment platform. It is called as Neo Collections. Okay. In examination, they're gonna ask Neo Collections, recently seen in news. It is launched by which bank? Okay, it is by the Kotak Mahindra Bank. It is one of the digital repayment platform. The name is Neo Collections. Okay, so what is this DIY? DIY is nothing but do it yourself digital payment. Okay, DIY is nothing but do it yourself. Like how we have KYC. That is now your customers, right? It is also one form of similar way. DIY is do it yourself. This Kotak Mahindra Bank, it has launched the Neo Collection platform in tie-up with the Creditas solution. What is the objective of this Neo Collection? That we need to understand. See, the main objective of this DIY digital payment platform is to make the repayments for outstanding loans more convenient for the customers. Okay, it is as the name only it suggests, right? Repayment platform. It is for the customers for repaying their loans. Okay, so which bank has launched this Neo Collection? It is Kotak Mahindra Bank. Okay, that much. Next, World Bank unveils new cybersecurity multi-donor trust fund. So this is nothing but just one kind of a fund. Okay, it is related to the cybersecurity. The World Bank has launched the new cybersecurity multi-donor trust fund to better roll out cybersecurity development agenda in the systematic manner. World Bank has partnered with the 4 countries, okay, to collect these multi-donor trust fund. So what are those countries that you need to remember? For exam point of view, these 4 countries are very, very important. So one is Estonia, Japan, Germany, and the Netherlands. Okay, to launch this multi-donor trust fund for the cyber security, World Bank, it has partnered with 4 different countries: Estonia, Japan, Germany, and Netherlands. Okay, you can remember like EJGN. Okay, make a code. If examination they ask this Estonia, Japan, Germany, Netherlands, you need to quickly identify these countries. Okay, World Bank partnered with these 4 countries to launch the multi-donor trust fund. It is for the cyber security purpose. Okay, I hope this is clear. Remember these four points. Next, Finance Minister launches the Ubarte Sitare Fund for export-oriented MSMEs. Okay, this is again very important fund, Ubarte Sitare Fund. In examination, they're gonna ask like this: Ubarte Sitare Fund, recently seen in news, it is related to what? Okay, they will give four options. It is related to the education, it is related to the poverty, it is related to the infrastructure development, and lastly, it is related to the export. Okay, so then you need to pick and choose. It is related to the export oriented MSME. Okay, like that to make you confused, they're gonna give different options. So remember, to Bharati Sitare Fund, this is specifically related to the export oriented MSME. Our Finance Minister of India, Nirmala Sitharaman, launched the Bharati Sitare Fund, and it has the corpus of 250 crore for the export oriented small and mid-sized companies. Okay, so this launch they have recently done in the Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. We all know that on August 21, 2021. So this fund will be managed by the Exim Bank, that is Export Import Bank. Obviously, it is related to the export oriented MSMEs, and it is supervised by the Exim Bank and SIDBI. The fund has been launched under the Ubarte Sitare program. In short, it is USP, announced in the budget speech of 2021 and 2022. Okay, so remember, here only 3 points you need to remember. Ubarte Sitare Fund, it is related to what? Okay, then which bank have authority to manage this fund? That is Exim Bank and SIDBI Bank. Okay, so these 2 points you need to remember. And first time it was launched in the Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, and it has the corpus of 250 crore rupees. That also you need to remember. So they have come up with such an Ubarte Sitare Fund because they have already announced that in the budget speech. That's why they have come up with Ubarte Sitare Fund. Okay, they implemented that. Next, Bharat Pay launches the P2P lending app 12% Club. Okay, 12% Club is related to the Bharat Pay. It has launched the 12% Club. Okay, so this app will allow the consumers to invest and earn up to 12% annual interest or borrow at the similar rate. Okay, so this Bharat Pay, it has partnered with the London Club. So what is this London Club? It is RBI approved NBFC. What is NBFC? Can everybody let me know in the comment section? We have already studied in economy, right? What is NBFC? Interact with me, guys. What is NBFC? What is NBFC? Yeah, it is non-banking financial company. Okay, RBI approved non-banking financial company. That is London Club. So Bharat Pay, it has partnered with the London Club. It is one of the NBFC for this app and lending arrangement. See, consumers can invest their saving anytime by choosing to lend money on 12% Club app. Okay, this is one of the app. Okay, so this is launched by the Bharat Pay in partner with the London Club. See, consumers they can invest their savings anytime by choosing to lend money on 12% Club app. Apart from this, consumers can avail the collateral free loans, which is very important. So without security, they can take the loans up to 10 lakh on the 12% Club app for the tenure of 3 months. Okay, so that is the specialty of this 12% Club. If they have money, they can invest into this app. If they want to borrow money, they can even take the money from this collateral free loans. Okay, without any security, they can take up to 10 lakh rupees with the 12% Club app for the tenure of 3 months. Okay, this is not year. Okay, it is just 3 months. Okay, that much loan they can take, that too collateral free loan. Okay, so that much you need to remember about this. Okay, next. Finance Minister unveils the fourth edition of Public Sector Banking Reforms Agenda. That is ACE 4.0. What is ACE? Can anybody let me know? See, our Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, they have unveiled the fourth edition of the Public Sector Banking Reforms Agenda is 4.0 for the year 2021 and 2022. What is the theme of this is 4.0 that you need to remember? Okay, theme is technology enabled, simplified, and collaborative banking. In examination, they're gonna ask theme. Okay, so recently ACE 4.0 implemented. What is the theme of that? Okay, technology enabled, simplified, and collaborative banking. So it is nothing but reforms of the public sector banks. Whatever the crusts are there, whatever the problems are there, they're gonna look after that, monitor it, and they're gonna regulate it, and they also provided solutions. Okay, so that is the work of this AS 4.0. Okay, remember, whenever the AS thing come, it is related to the banking sector reforms. So whenever you talk about the banking sector reforms, you need to remember one important person, that is Narasimhan. So Narasimhan committee, you might have heard in news recently. They died, right? Narasimhan. He was the former RBI governor. Okay, he died recently, and his committee is related to the banking reforms. Okay, there is high chances of asking that question in examination. So go and study about the Narasimhan committee. Okay, it is related to which sector? I told you it is related to the banking reform sector. Okay, so remember that. Narasimhan committee 1 is there, Narasimhan committee 2 are there. Okay, so you go through that and detailedly you study with that. Okay, because they died recently, such question might come in your examination. Okay, so this is all about the EASE 4.0. Next, government approves the increase of bank employees family pension to 30% of the last salary drawn. So this was in the news even in the July month also. Okay, central government, it has approved the Indian Banks Association proposal. See, IBA, it is Indian Bank Association, its organization. It have made the proposal against the central bank to increase the family pension to 30% of their last salary drawn. So after this, central government has approved that. Okay, so after this, the family pension would go up to as much as 30,000 to 35,000 per family of the bank employees. Okay, the government has also approved the proposal to increase the employers' contribution under the NPS to 14% from the existing 10%. So recently it was, so previously it was 10%. Now they are taking it as 14%. Okay, so you need to remember that. So you need to remember the Indian Banks Association grouping. That is important. Okay, Indian Bank Association grouping, when it got started and all, please go and detail study about that. Okay, so this they have increased the 30% pension of the bank employees salary, last salary drawn. Okay, so that you need to remember. Next, PFRDA increases the entry age in the national pension scheme to 70 years. Okay, the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, PFRDA. So it has increased the entry age for the national pension system. It was 65 years previously, now it is 70 years. They have just changed the age gap. So earlier the eligible age to invest in the NPS was 18 to 65 years people. Okay, which has now been revised to the 18 to 70-year age group people. So as per the revised norm, any Indian citizen, resident or non-resident, and even the overseas citizen of India between the age group of 65 to 70 years, they can join the NPS, that is National Pension System, and continue or defer their NPS account up to the age of 75 years. Okay, so that is all about the this issue. Okay, only they have changed the age limit. Previously it was 65 years, now they have changed it to the 70 years. Okay, that you need to remember. Next is, so in this topic, we learned the banking and economic current affairs of the month August 2021. So these were the some important current affairs which come in the August month 2021. If you have any doubts related to the any issue, let me know in the comment section. See, those are all facts. You need to remember those facts, okay? Any queries related to the issues we have discussed till now? Let me know in the comment section. Okay, guys, I assume there are no doubts. Thank you so much and see you in the next class.